God Talk Unfiltered.
Okay. Um, just to let you know, first of all, I'm not a huge journaler, but when my mind goes crazy with a zillion things going on and I can't stop things or quiet it, I often journal. So this week has been a little crazy. So I journaled. And the journal that I looked at as I was going through them this week or whatever was one that I wrote last Wednesday. And Wednesdays are the day that I go out to see my mom. We have dinner and I visit for a few hours. And there's been a lot going on in my mind with everything that she's going through. So I journaled. And as I leave work, I have about an hour to an hour and a half drive out to my mom's. And so, of course, it's a lot of time to think, and traffic's usually crappy, and it's slow. And so I'm thinking, and of course, I first start out with, I wonder how she's going to be today. Is she going to be coherent? Is she going to remember who I am? And then, for some reason, Wednesday, I got in this whole diatribe of remembering who I remember that she was as I was growing up. I remember this beautiful, strong woman who was always there for all her children, who taught me things like unconditional love that I don't think I would have ever learned anywhere else. To me, one of the most caring, before my dad married her, she would take in kids, high school kids, her own children, her biological children's friends, and that's actually how my dad and her met. She took my brother in to live there at her home. She would often take in, she would adopt children. She just really, always a caregiver, always. She took care of her mother when her mother became unable to take care of herself for about 20 years. She took care of her youngest son, my stepbrother, when he was diagnosed with cancer until he passed away. And now the shoe is kind of on the other foot. Now she has to be taken care of, and she doesn't like it. But as I keep reminding her, you took care of so many people and so many of us. Now it's your time for us to give back to you. You've given so much of your life. Now, Mom's 92. She has dementia now. I think it was coming, but because she was taking care of so many people, I don't think any of us really recognized what was going on because she was always fluid and able to do. But within the last 2 or 3 years, she's had a heart attack and a stroke, and although physically she's okay, her mind is not there. So a lot of times when I go, Wednesday when I got there, I knew it was going to be a pretty good night because when I walked in, she was all smiles. We have an evening caregiver that comes in, and she helped her stand up, so she was able to use her walker and come over to me and give me a hug and gave me a great big smile. And she's like, "I've missed you." And her caregiver, and one of my sisters stays with her, said she really enjoys your visits. You have no idea. She talks about your visits, even if she doesn't remember that you're there. She talks about Wednesdays that I'm coming. So we sat and we watched a movie on TV, which this is one of those things where she's kind of in and out with me, where she'll look at me and she'll talk to me in the third person like I'm really not sitting there, like, "Well, Chris is coming tonight." And I'm like, I know, tell me about Chris. And so she'll talk a little bit about me, and then she'll go back to watching television. And I often wonder where she's at in her head, because she'll just say things that just don't make sense to me. She has talked about talking to my grandmother and talking to my brother and my dad recently. And I'm like, is she talking to them now? Is she really, where is she? And then, of course, that Wednesday I had to leave, like I do every Wednesday. And she's always like, "Well, you're not staying the night?" I'm like, "Nope." I'm like, "Gotta work in the morning. It's an hour and a half drive home. Can't stay." So she gets a little remorse. So Wednesday, I got up, I went and said goodbye to my sister who's in the back part of the house, and I came back in, I gave Mom a kiss and a hug, and then I went and used the facilities and came back and had to give her another kiss and a hug. Went and put my coat on, had to give her another kiss and a hug because she thinks I haven't left or she doesn't want me to leave. So this is our game that we play every Wednesday night. And to be honest with you, I love it. So then I'm on my way home, and of course then I have to have my conversation with God on the way home, like, why are you putting her through this? I don't feel like she has quality of life. I don't want her to be gone, but I don't want to see her like this either. And God's voice clearly says to me, even though I know it's not always, but maybe it's a gut feeling, I don't know. But God's answer back to me is always, always, she's got more to do. She's got somebody to touch. Maybe it's me. Maybe there's a lesson I need to learn somewhere in here. I haven't figured it out yet. But there's somebody or something that God still has her here for. And just because I don't think it's a quality of life doesn't mean that God doesn't see the whole picture.